Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. Before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is my Furla Julia bag, my Julia Gulia. Alright, so grab your coffee, grab your tea, let's start your workout, let's go to work, let's do your laundry, whatever it is that you do, come join me. We have some awesome topics to cover today. Starting with the first question from Jessica Ann Williamson. Why is Damier Azur so rare on the Preloved market? It seems like there is tons of monogram, quite a bit of Damier Ben, but the Azur is few and far between. Do people retain ownership of the Azur longer? Are there fewer Azur items being made? I haven't wanted one until I saw someone with an old Azur bag with very, very dark patina and I fell in love. But there are no options, even on Fashion File and Yogi's Closet, let alone Poshmark and Tradesy. This is a fabulous question, and I have also noticed that on the Preloved market. And I think there's two different ways, that I look at it. This is just an assumption, but the first one is that when it comes to Damier Azur, I strongly feel that it is the least popular of the canvas prints, mostly due to the fact that it is prone to color transfer. And I think that when it comes to color transfer or just a Damier Azur bag in general, people don't necessarily want to worry about the type of clothing that they're wearing when it comes to those bags. Because with monogram, you don't have to worry about it, or with Damier Ben. But with that one, you have to be very mindful to make sure that you don't have, you don't have highly saturated dyes in your clothing or your jeans or whatever it is, because you run the risk of the color transfer happening. So that could be one thing, and if you're the type of person that has that handbag merry-go-round, where you use a bag for like 6 months or a year, whatever it is, and then you go to sell it because you want something else. If you do have that color transfer, it greatly devalues that handbag. So there's a bigger risk of not getting back necessarily a portion or too big of a portion of what you paid for it if it ends up having those types of stains on the canvas. Plus, it's really hard to kind of lift it off. I know that when I got mine, or when I got it on my Neverfull, I was wearing a black shirt. Like I've said before, it was totally my fault. I immediately went into the restroom and I put soap on it, and I was able to get a lot of that color transfer off, but still, it's still there, you know what I mean? I've said it before that I notice it, some people might not, but I know that it's there. So I think that might end up driving people crazy, that they have to be so mindful as to what it is that they wear with it. And another thing is that when it comes to that print, I think you either love it or it's not for you. I think that I don't really think that there's an in-between. Like I've said, this is just an assumption, because I have noticed that people that do have Damier Azur and they love it, they have those water stains, they have those that color transfer, and they've had the bags for years and years and years. So there is a possibility that they retain ownership of the item a lot longer, just because they are a fan of that print, I love the fact that you have that golden honey patina up against the Damier Azur. I think it makes a stunning, stunning combination. But if you're very careful on your handbags and where you wear them and what you, and just where you set them down and things like that, I think that Damier Azur tends to make people nervous. So I don't know. These are just my 2 cents, but that's what I think. I think that you either love it or it's not for you and you keep it for a long time, or you just don't want to have to deal with the potential, or with the possibility, I should say, of getting any color transfer on it whatsoever. So great question, and hopefully I was able to help. Next question from Miss Annie. I know you have a solid job, but if something ever happened where you were laid off or couldn't find a job in your career field, would you consider applying to be a sales associate at Louis Vuitton or another luxury retailer? This question has come up before. Now, would I consider applying to be a sales associate at Louis Vuitton? I definitely think it would be so much fun to work at LV, because I'm a huge fan of the brand. I love the history, and I have some knowledge of the products that they sell. So I think it would be really fun to be able to help people find items that that they really like. But the reality of it is that I think that Louis Vuitton necessarily wouldn't be the happiest with me. And the only reason I say that is because if someone, outright asked me, what do I think? What are the pros and cons of the item? I would be absolutely transparent. You know what I mean? I'm not the type of person that will tell you what you want to hear just to make a sale or whatever it is. I'm not that type. So if someone said, well, what do you think about this? What are the pros and cons? I would do the exact same thing that I do on here. So I think that the client would be happy because I'm being honest, but the company would say, what the heck? You know, your sales are tanking, or you're not making any money, or whatever it is, just because I'm not going to lie to someone, and I'm not going to put up a facade just to make a sale. You know what I mean? I've said it before that I do love Louis Vuitton. Some of their items aren't the best, and some of them are. I'm not the type that's just gonna sit there and say, it's Louis Vuitton, it's the best thing, nothing's ever gonna happen to it. No, definitely not. I will tell you up front, be completely transparent with what I think about the item, and if I can help someone make a decision, and that way they don't have buyer's remorse or whatever it is, that makes me super, super happy, because I would be completely focused on making sure that they have an awesome experience and they get exactly what it is that they're looking for. I'm not going to sway them in this direction, and I'm not going to sway them in that direction just because I'll end up making commission off of them. You know what I mean? That doesn't work for me. So I don't think luxury stores would be too happy by having me. So I don't think it'd end up working out. Now, where I would end up working if I decided to go back to retail, I would go for like a jewelry store, and I'd work at a jewelry store because, come on, I'm a magpie. So the fact that I can see all the sparkly jewelry or the diamonds or whatever, and then the lighting that jewelry stores have, I mean, it just makes the item look even more beautiful than what it is, So I kind of get my fix that way by being surrounded amongst all the glittery things and not necessarily having to pay for them. I get to play with them, but not have to pay the price for them, you know what I'm saying? So luxury stores, I don't think we'd be a good fit, but would it be fun? Absolutely it would, but those are just my 2 cents. So great question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Caroline Mueller. I have in my collection Damier Ben and Monogram, and I wanted to finally buy my first Damier Azur. I am debating to purchase a Felicie Or Favorite MM in Damier Azur. Any suggestion from your end or other subscribers? Great question. Before we get any further, let me insert pictures of the Felicie and the Favorite MM right now. Both are beautiful handbags. For the Felicie, I love the price point that it has. I like the fact that it's versatile. I'm also a big fan of the rose ballerine interior that it has. I think it really complements the Damier Azur and the gold hardware. And I also love the fact that it comes with 2 small leather goods, and that way you can use those small leather goods in another handbag if you wanted to. I feel that the Felicie has a little bit of a stronger closing, so that way if you're kind of navigating through crowds, you won't necessarily have to worry that it's going to pop open on its own or anything like that. So I do like that it gives you a little bit of peace of mind. However, it is very similar to a wallet on chain. So if you are looking to use both of those card slots that it comes with and maybe fit a little bit more in there, it's going to be a very, very tight fit. So either you take both of those out, or you can interchange one or the other with a few other items that you can fit inside of your handbag. So that's the only downside to it, in my opinion, that it is a little bit smaller and you have to go even more compact than you do with the Favorite. Now, when it comes to the Favorite, I think that you can get away with carrying a lot more in that bag. It's also very, very versatile. And between the two, I think that the Favorite has a better resale value. So let's say in the future that you're just like, okay, you know what, Damier Azur isn't for me. It wasn't what I thought it would be. 6 months down the line or a year down the line, you have a better chance of making up more of the money that you spent on the Favorite than you would on the Felicie. So just from what I've seen on the Preloved market, so if that's important to you, that's something to take into consideration. But I think both of these bags are awesome. They both have wonderful price points, and they're incredibly versatile. It's just a matter of really how much you want to fit inside of your handbag. And the Favorite, even though the magnetic closure is somewhat strong, it's not as strong as the snap button closure that the Felicie has. So if that kind of makes you a little bit nervous, That's also something else to take into consideration. So either one that you go for, I think would be a great addition to your collection, and hopefully I was able to help. Next question from Tasha Hartman. I know you have multiple pairs of the Valentino Rockstud flip-flops, and I don't think you own a pair of the Tory Burch Miller sandals. I'm looking to purchase a pair of luxury sandals or flip-flops, but how do I justify spending that much on a pair of jellies? I know they're great quality and probably really comfortable, but they are $300 plus. Help me convince my hubby that these flip-flops are a great buy. He's not saying no because he knows how I am about my luxury items and he would never ever tell me no, but I can tell by his face that he doesn't understand the want for these sandals at this price. Oh man, this is a tough one. I have talked about the pros and the cons when it comes to the Valentino jelly flip-flops. So we have a little bit more eye candy here. They are in the water rose. I also have them in the red. The other pairs are up on the shelf. All right, so how can I help you convince your hubby that these are a great buy? So let me start off with the pros and then I will get into the cons of these. The first thing for me, I love the fact that these kind of make my feet look like little presents, all right? Even with my long toes, all right? Even with my long toes, I like the fact that the little bow makes my feet look like little presents. I'm a crazy sucker for the Rockstuds just because they end up catching the light so perfectly. So the magpie in me is like, yes, 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 you know what I mean? And this just really ends up fitting in with my lifestyle as far as flip-flops go. I live in sneakers and flip-flops. That's my jam. You know what I mean? That's what I go for. I like being really, really comfortable and these working out. These definitely end up working out for me. Now the cons to these, I cannot deny the fact, all right? I will be 100% honest with you. I've told you guys I will always be honest. I cannot deny the fact that when it comes to these flip-flops, you are paying for mostly the name. All right, I'm not going to deny it. Someone might completely disagree with me, and that's totally fine, but you are definitely paying for the name when it comes to these. I have had jellies when I was younger. I used to have them in every single color, and even though I would pay like, I don't know, $10 or $15 or whatever it was, they would only last the summer because then it would end up just kind of tearing off like the sides or whatever. And these, even though plastic is plastic, in my opinion, these haven't really had any issues with them kind of falling apart or anything like that. And I have used these things to death. So I haven't had any issues with the Rockstuds falling out either. So when it comes to these, I really feel that the majority of the amount of money that you're paying for these is because of the name. It's because it has Valentino slapped on here, you know? And like I said, some people will disagree with me when it comes to these. Even though I love these and I have different pairs of them, I have a slight obsession with them, I have to be honest, you know what I mean? I have to be realistic when it comes to the price point that these have and what it is that you're paying for. Another thing is that there have been people that have told me that they don't find them to be as comfortable, and the reason why I find them comfortable is because I also have flat feet. So I don't have an arch, I don't need arch support or anything like that. So these end up working out really great for me. If you are someone that needs that arch support, I feel that they might be a little bit uncomfortable. And if you wear them, obviously if you wear them in the summer, and if your feet end up sweating, I know it might be TMI, but if you get sweaty feet, sometimes these don't necessarily fly off, but they'll be kind of uncomfortable to walk in. So those are the cons. But at the end of the day, if you like them, if it makes your heart sing, then go for them. If you like the fact that your feet look like little presents, if you like the fact that the Rockstuds end up glimmering in the sun perfectly, and maybe you're a fan of the Rockstuds in general, but not necessarily their pumps or any other shoes that they have, then I say go for it. But if there is the slightest doubt in your mind, I would hold off. There are another pair of luxury flip-flops out there that I really like. They are a little bit more expensive, but the biggest difference between the ones that I'm about to tell you guys and these is the fact that those have mostly leather. And I'm talking about the Gucci web thong flip-flop, I think that's what it's called. I think they're $420 or $440, something like that. Don't quote me on it. But like I said, the biggest difference is that you're paying $300 plus for all plastic with these, and with the Gucci ones, you have a leather sole and you just have the textile for the thong part here. So, if that's an option for you, if that's something that you want to do, you want to have that higher quality leather, they kind of feel like lambskin and they get very, very soft. They're great flip-flops. So that's also something that you can do. So if you're not the biggest fan of paying $300 plus cost for plastic, then I would strongly recommend the leather ones from Gucci for $100 more, but you're getting, you're getting a leather flip-flop if that's what you want to go for. So I don't know if this is helpful. Like I said before, I will always give you guys the pros and cons. I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And even though I am a fan of these and I have a slight obsession with them, I cannot deny the fact that at the end of the day, they are plastic. So I hope that this was helpful, and let us know whatever you decide to go for. Next question from Tiffany R. Which Louis Vuitton handbags are your favorite for each canvas? For example, my favorite monogram bag is the Neverfull MM. For Damier Ben, it would be the Speedy Bandolier 25, and for Damier Azur, it would be the Favorite MM. All right, great question. Okay, so for Damier Ben, it would be this beauty, which is the Pochette Accessoire new model. I absolutely love this bag. It's super comfortable. I can carry my daily essentials, and I can go super compact, and I don't have to worry that I can only fit so much, you know what I mean? So Damier Ben, it would be the Pochette Accessoire. For Damier Azur, I really should have brought it out, but as much as I love the Speedy Classic, I think it's great, it's gonna have to be my Neverfull MM, for sure. That's like my ride or die Neverfull. I've had it the longest. I have a crazy attachment to it, so it would have to be that one. Now, when it came to the monogram, it was a little bit harder to pick because I do like the Neverfull, but like I said, the Damier Azur takes the cake for that one. And it was kind of a toss-up between the Pochette Matisse and this one, and I chose this one. So I'm not saying maybe my favorite of all time because it's a little bit harder for me to decide. So I'm kind of copping out a little bit and saying my favorite at the moment, and that would be the Palm Springs Mini. I am crazy obsessed with this little backpack. I don't know what it is. I've said it before. I've talked about it a million times, and it's not that I don't love the Pochette Matisse. You guys know I've had it for a long time as well, and I think it's amazing. I love the way that the patina looks on the monogram canvas, especially with that gold hardware. But at the moment, it's gonna have to be this bag. So, I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind in a couple months or what have you. But yeah, so I'm kind of cheating by saying at the moment instead of saying of all time, because I don't think I could decide. Just because I've had the Pochette Matisse for so long. So yeah, those are my three. But I would love to know your top three or your favorites for those prints. And if you can't decide, you can cheat like I did and say your favorite at the moment. So wonderful question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from X Star Bright X. I know this is a preference question, but maybe not. I want to invest in a designer guitar strap, probably from Dior, but I only have one Dior bag. I like variety, so I only have one bag from each designer. Would it be blasphemy to wear a Dior strap on a Louis Vuitton bag or a Prada bag? I don't have the budget to get a strap from each brand. Fabulous question. And do I think it's blasphemy? Absolutely not. I know that there's a lot of people out there who will disagree with me. They'll say, if you're gonna use a Louis Vuitton bag, use a Louis Vuitton strap. I strongly disagree, but to each their own, because like you said, you already have variety because you have you have a handbag from each designer, and by adding a strap from a different fashion house, you have another completely different look. So it adds even more variety, you know what I mean? So if you go for the guitar strap that you can wear crossbody, or you can adjust it so that you can wear it on your shoulder, then you have even more variety. So I am all for it, you know what I mean? You have different looks for each of your handbags by investing or by spending it on just one sole guitar strap. I know I myself, I love the Dior guitar straps. I think that they're beautiful. The checkered one is one of my all-time favorites from Dior. And there have been times when I have switched my Givenchy Antigona's shorter strap that I very rarely use with the handbag. I've put that on my Celine Nano just because I wanted something a little bit shorter. Maybe, the hardware doesn't match. I know that, one of them has a very like the chrome, not the chrome look, but a very shiny hardware, and the other one has like the ruthenium hardware. But I like it because it gives those bags even more variety. So I'm able to just kind of interchange them and just give them a little bit of a different look. Even though with those two, the ones that I have. They're both black handbags, so it's a little bit more inconspicuous. But if you want to go for color, if you want to go for, black and white or whatever it is, I think it's an awesome idea to get a strap from one fashion house and to be able to incorporate it into your collection various ways. So I say rock it. If you like it, if you're all for it, absolutely I would do it. So hopefully that was able to help. Next question from AbiGirl76. I purchased my very first luxury good in March of 2017, so I'm fairly new to this particular market. Since then, I've acquired quite a few more pieces, including handbags and small leather goods from Louis Vuitton, Chanel, etc. I live in Georgia, where the summers are nearly unbearable. Last summer, I found myself in situations where I had to leave my bag and precious small leather goods in the sweltering heat of a car baking in the sun, and I would freak out inside. I imagined the worst: lotion and perfume explosions and the death of my little babies. This year, I'm finding myself wanting to shelf these items and purchase temporary replacements that are cheaper in price, such as Tory Burch or Kate Spade. Here's my whiny part. They just don't do it for me. And I'm sure you know what I mean, LOL. I hear a voice in my head saying, I've become a bag snob, LOL. I cannot stress how hot and humid it is here. What would you do? Awesome question. And you're not being whiny. I know exactly what you're talking about. Some person might end up calling me a bag snob too. It is what it is. All right, so what would I do? There's a few things that you can end up doing. Like you said, you can end up shelving those items and go for either Coach, Michael Kors, Tory Burch, or Kate Spade, whatever it is. That way you know that you're not leaving those small leather goods inside of the car. So that's one option. Another option is that you can go for, when you have those high temperatures and when you have that crazy, unbearable humidity, you can go for a smaller handbag. And that way you can go uber compact, and wherever you end up going, it's a lot easier to be able to put these in a desk or to put them in a drawer without necessarily having to worry that your items are going to sit in the sun in your car. Because over time, the more and more that you do that, that can definitely end up damaging the canvas or the leather or whatever it is that you have inside of your bag. So you can go uber compact and just maybe go for one or two small leather goods, or just even go for a clay or a mini pochette or whatever it is. That way you can always carry it, on your wrist, or you can have it on your belt loop, and you don't necessarily have to go for a full-on handbag. I know that here, when it gets crazy hot, sometimes we have humidity, other times we don't, but when it's really hot here and when it's really humid, the last thing that I want to do is have to deal with a big old bag, because it drives me nuts. I feel like I end up sweating profusely, and my hair is constantly up, and it just drives me crazy. So I go for the smallest handbags that I have. I go for something like this, or I go for those small leather goods that I said before. That way I just have my minimal essentials, and I don't have to worry that I have to necessarily place them somewhere. So that's another option. Another thing that you can do, like you said, if the contemporary brands just don't do it for you, what if you went the pre-loved route for items that you don't necessarily have to worry about as much, as far as the ones that you already have. You know what I mean? So you can go for a pre-loved good that maybe has a little bit more wear and tear. You can get them at great price points, and you can go for those compact small leather goods that way. And if you had to leave them in your car for whatever reason, you know that you're not necessarily spending, X amount of dollars on a brand new piece and it's going to be damaged within a couple of hours or within a couple of months. You already have a pre-loved item that has maybe a little bit more character, maybe a little bit more beauty marks, and you don't have to be as careful. So that's one way to look at it. So you can either shelf it, you can go super compact, or you can go pre-loved and get a few items that if something happened to them, you wouldn't necessarily be as devastated as your other items. I'm not saying that you wouldn't be devastated, but that's just an option if that's something that you wanted to do. So hopefully that was able to help, but yes, definitely I recommend not leaving your handbag inside of your car at any point in time. And if you know that that's a possibility that it's going to happen, I would just go for just the bare essentials: driver's license, some cash, your car keys, and your phone, and that's it. Anything that you could put in your pockets and not necessarily have to leave them in your car. So I hope that this was helpful. And the last question from Gracie Hernandez. I went to Louis Vuitton last weekend and I was not at all ready to buy anything. I usually like to save up and pick something I've already looked at 3 or 4 times before I buy a bag. But last week, we walked in and I saw the Apollo upside down monogram backpack and fell in love. We bought it and I am now having a little buyer's remorse. I mean, I'm totally in love, but this expense wasn't planned. Have you ever bought something because it was available to you and you knew it wouldn't be soon? Have you ever experienced buyer's remorse? If so, what did you do? Did you return it or did you keep it and let yourself enjoy it? Well, first and foremost, major congratulations on your Apollo backpack. All right, so have I ever bought something because it was available to me and I knew it wouldn't be soon? Absolutely, absolutely. I used to do it a lot more so when I was younger because remember, I can justify anything. And whenever I'd go out, I'd see something and sometimes I would know in the back of my mind that the item wasn't necessarily something that I would normally end up gravitating towards, or it wasn't something that I think would end up working out for my lifestyle, but I was in love with either the sparkle that it had or with the color or whatever it was. So I would look at it every single possible angle so that I can end up purchasing it, you know? So I can justify anything, you know, I've said it before. So yes, I have done that. Now, have I ever experienced buyer's remorse? I definitely have. What usually happens to me with buyer's remorse, 99% of the time I end up returning the item. And the way that buyer's remorse really ends up creeping up on me, and I try my hardest to listen to my intuition. I try to listen to my gut instinct. Sometimes I've completely disregarded it and I've kind of paid the price months later when the item just ends up sitting there. So for me, buyer's remorse, like I said, it kind of creeps up in the form that I'll end up going, let's say I'll go into the boutique and I buy this item and I'm really excited there. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so this, I'm so that. I kind of, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I feel like I get this rush when I'm in the boutique, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll buy this, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, or whatever it is. And I tend to get, or I should say I used to get very carried away. But when I would get home, the item would literally sit in my room, untouched, in the shopping bag, in the packaging, just kind of off to the side. That right there, that for me was my buyer's remorse, because anytime I've purchased something and if I am just ridiculously excited about using it, sometimes I don't think I even leave the parking lot when I'm already, you know, taking off all the packaging and I'm starting to use the item. Sometimes I'm a little bit more mindful if I want to do an unboxing, but still, the moment I do an unboxing, that next day or that same day, I'm kind of switching into it. So that for me lets me know, okay, I'm really excited about this item. I really, really like it. It's going to work out for me, blah, 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 blah. But when I buy something and if it's sitting in my room untouched, that's kind of when it's like, okay, maybe this really wasn't the best way to go about it. But at the end of the day, if you love the item and you cannot wait to use it, I don't see that as buyer's remorse, you know, and if you, even though you said that you didn't budget for it, and if there's a way that you can make it work and you really, really want to add that item to your collection and you want to start using it right away, then by all means, I'd say keep it and then just rock the bag. But if that doubt ends up just kind of overwhelming the experience, I think that it'll be harder to enjoy the item because in your heart of hearts and in your gut instinct, you're just like, I really like it, but maybe it's not for me at this point in time or whatever it is. So I don't know if that helps or not, but buyer's remorse definitely has kicked my butt a few times. But I really try my hardest to listen to my intuition and make the best decision. But we all know that doesn't always end up working out. You can plan as much as you want, but sometimes you have those items that you never planned on purchasing and they end up being the best item that you have in your collection or your most used. So like I said, hopefully my experiences have been able to help you out. And if you decide to keep it, again, major, major congratulations. And if you decide to return it, I'm sure you'll find something else that makes your heart sing as loud as the Apollo, and maybe you'll kind of switch into that bag right away. So hopefully I was able to help. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope I was able to help. You guys had some awesome questions this week. For this week's lineup, I do have a collection video that I'm going to try to get out either Wednesday or Thursday, and I might have one more video for you this weekend. If not, my schedule, remember, is kind of all over the place. Then I will end up seeing you guys next Monday. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red button down below and hitting that bell so you're notified when I upload videos, which is anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. And I will see you guys later. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day.